Good morning. It's Liz from Lou and Liz in the Morning on 94.3 The Point. And I just want to check in and say hello to everyone. We're going to try to do an interview in just a moment with my new friend Marlee. So let me try to connect with her and get that started. We're going to talk today about SATs and what the future means when we can't have any testing for those of you with teenagers in high school. Hi, Marlee. How are
Hi,
you?
Liz. I'm fine. How are you today?
I'm good. Tell everybody, people are just joining in, so I'll give a quick overview and then you can tell
Okay.
everyone who give people a minute to join in. Thanks for coming on and being prompt. So I wrote a blog recently with your help and your partner's help about, because I have a son that recently just went through the college application process, and we started at the last minute a year early, just thinking we would do it as a trial run to see what it
Okay.
was. And because he was homeschooled, he had already earned credits from Brookdale Community College, and he had a great GPA and everything else he needed, but he hadn't taken his SATs. So we went back and he took them and all of that. And it was a whirlwind. And
Yeah.
then we realized as we were applying that some schools may change things up and have already started the process of possibly changing things up so as making SAT scores not necessarily mandatory. And then COVID-19 happened, and now nobody can test. So there are a lot of parents and students that are freaking out right now, and now they're saying that it'll get even worse because the testing is so backed up they would never be able to test everybody in time. So now that we're letting people join in, why don't you introduce yourself, tell us where you're from, and a little bit about your company before we get into the SATs.
Okay, great. So my name is Marlee Naparano. My partner, Matt Macrinos, and I have had our company WaveLength Tutoring and Test Prep for we're in our 19th year. We're based out of Monmouth County. We have Learning Center in Wall and one in Middletown, and a small group of tutors who do in-home tutoring, as well as our small group classes that Matt and I teach. So, we also work on college consulting and the like. And I've been doing, Yale's my alma mater. I've been doing interviews locally for the past 20 years. It's been a long time. Been a long road. Yeah. So, but I think the main thing, before you even ask anything else, don't panic. The main thing to remember is that we've had many ups and downs with the SAT throughout the years, from the test changed to 2400 score, changed back to a 1600. College Board fired their president, hired a new guy to compete with ACT. There's been lots of tumult over the years, and we can bridge it. And the colleges are the good guys, so they're going to make sure that the kids don't fall through the cracks.
Oh,
So
good.
that's overarching issue. Message is don't freak out.
Okay. So
Okay.
tell us, see potentially happening, or now that we don't know what's happening exactly with COVID-19, and so many testings have already been canceled or are going to be postponed. Tell us what some of the options may be if your child was relying on that score just to either say to enter college in the coming year.
Okay. So you figure our working deadline, we always consider sort of the October test date, the end of the line, because that's the last test that will make it for early application deadlines, right? So, first of all, colleges may extend that deadline. They've been known to do that in the past. When we had Hurricane Sandy here, um, all applicants from our region had an extended deadline from every college in the US. So colleges may extend the deadline to allow more test dates to happen. Um, Many schools, over 2 dozen schools, have already switched to test optional for this admission period, if not for others. That means that the College Board, they're fighting for their lives here, right? So because they have to stay relevant, because we get used to, I'm already used to driving up to Food Town and having them put my groceries in my trunk. So we get used to whatever is implemented at this time, and they could easily get phased out right now. So they've announced as of last week that there will be online SATs available this fall if we are still in social distancing. What
I'm
that's going to mean, yeah, go ahead.
I'm sure they would prefer for that not to happen, because
Yeah,
with the implications of being able to take your SATs from home comes a whole different variable about honesty, I will say.
Right.
But or yeah, there's so many ways that relevant. But their other option is allow these colleges to not count the SAT scores, and then you don't need the SATs at all anymore. So
Right.
right now, in a phase where it's up in the air. But if they were, so if nothing changes by the fall, by the October test date, they, in order to stay relevant, may have to let people take the SATs from home, is what you're saying.
Yes. And they're going to roll out that for the AP exams right next month. So in May, the AP exams, which are also made by the College Board, will be given at home online. But in order to make that happen, they've basically cut them in half, actually by a third. They're going to be 45-minute long exams instead of 3
Wow.
hours long. They're going to be open book. So they're going to be open note exams. And that's how you get rid of that honor code. Now, as most of us know who've spent a lot of our lives taking tests, the shorter amount of time you have for a test, the less helpful it is to use your book, because you don't have time. But I would say to all educators right now who are busting their butts to keep the kids involved with online learning, AP teachers, the APs will not cover anything this year taught after March. So you don't have to teach them anything new. What you need to do is have them make a one-page cheat sheet that they're going to be able to access readily during the exam. In terms of SAT, though, hopefully they're going to work out a lot of the kinks before the fall. What everybody needs to know is that College Board lost a ton of money, and they do not want to lose money. So they're going to put in a lot of makeup exams. So you're going to have makeup dates that are during the school day, that are on weekends. They're going to try to glut the fall with makeup dates to service everybody.
Here's the other thing I want to talk about, though, for those who sometimes think out the box
Yeah.
or see that the wave of the future might not necessarily include SAT scores even before COVID-19 hit.
Mm-hmm.
I found out some interesting information from you during all of this, and that's that a lot of kids rely so heavily on the SAT score. That isn't necessarily what they consider the most when accepting you to a college, right?
Absolutely. Um, I've had a meeting, I've had meetings with the head of admissions at Yale, who will say to you to your face point blank, it is one of the least important things in the application. Now what they mean by this, now we're talking about mid-sized to small-sized colleges. So this is all your Ivies, your Catholic schools, most private schools. So not the big state schools. If we're talking mid-sized to small, they are using your SAT score as a cut line. It's like the bouncer at the door to the club, okay? So that means that they're going to set a cut line generously about 100 to 150 points below the middle 50% of the freshman class SAT score, and they're going to use it as that first cut when applications come in. If your child, if you have the scores to make it past that cut, your SAT scores will never really be revisited. So they're not actually like criteria for admission. They're just the bouncer. That's why I always say SAT scores can't get you into college, but they can keep you out. Okay.
More important, which is really something that many parents should be focused on with their high schoolers, is having a good solid GPA. And maybe
Absolutely.
in high school, throughout high school, from the beginning of high school, on your weak points with a tutor, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. The GPA is the single most important number in your application. Luckily, the colleges want to see the level of work you've sustained for 3.5 years, opposed to what you do on one Saturday morning of your life. So again, they're the good guys. When we talk about the big size schools, like your state schools, then it's more of a what the numbers game you hear about, where they just have such big freshman class and a huge number of applicants that they're relying more on your GPA, your SAT scores, and they're going to convert things about you into numerical value, like 4 years of sport that has a certain value. And they plug all that into an algorithm. And if the number after the equal sign is over a certain cut, you'll likely be admitted. So your numbers in general are more important to you in big state schools, and also as a recruited athlete, for example. If this is something, if listeners are like wanting to know, oh yeah, my kid's a recruited athlete, has this go down, just call me and we'll, I've got all the time in the world to sit around and talk to people on the phone right now. So
You've got kids at home that you're working with, and but that was going to be my next question. I know that you offer tutoring services and prep services, but can you also serve as an advisor for a parent that's trying to help their child navigate getting into a college?
Yes, yeah. So one of my specialties here is college consulting. So what we do is, in regular times, we sit down at the kitchen table at your house and invite all the siblings in, and we have a big meeting where we go through all this, and then we come up with a game plan over the next few years, depending on what the age is of the student I'm meeting. So we might meet in eighth grade, freshman year. We might meet senior year, 11th hour, and luckily this time of year my quarantine time is highlighted by my parents texting me. Yesterday a student texted, the mom texted and say he committed to Notre Dame, and that was a student, for example, I met just as a senior. So we're able to advise and work with whatever age student, at whatever stage in the game we meet. We can handle that. So
And does that include helping with advice for essay writing and uh, putting together transcripts and any other extracurricular and all that stuff?
absolutely. I mean, what we're trying to get to is truly a narrative of the application. So every kid is there goes your kid.
So,
Every
work from home, we all.
yeah, totally. I've got my five chained up downstairs so they don't duct tape. It's good for everything. Yeah, so every the thing is every student I meet knows infinite things I don't know, simply because they're in their head and I'm in mine. So my job for the past 20 years has been getting to bring those lovely things out into the light, because not every kid can show himself off properly in a 650 word essay. So one of the things I do is, when we're forming that narrative of the application, it's all about authenticity. It's about bringing all those magical, awesome things about that student to light, and finding the little niches on the application where we can highlight that. So it's really an awesome process, because you really get to show these great individuals off, and you get to help network them with programs and colleges that are going to really make them shine and be world changers.
Wow, I know I would love to talk to you more about this for my kids, but in the meantime, what haven't I asked you that you might want to talk about before we tell people how to get in touch with you if they want more information?
Um, I think I do want to make sure that families are going to keep checking the College Board website for registration times. This College Board only opens up a 2-month window to register for tests. They'll likely shorten that, but it's going to be very competitive to find convenient testing locations if we are allowed to actually go back into schools, probably around August, September. It's going to be really important. It's going to be first come, first serve. So I think it's imperative that you, when I say register early, register often. As much as I don't want people wasting money on registrations, you're going to have to probably register for 3 or 4 tests. We try to have kids take the test 3 times anyway to kind of get to their score potential, but be ready to register. Otherwise, you're going to be driving to Pennsylvania to take the SAT. So just keep an eye out for it. Uh, I'll be updating on my Instagram, on our Instagram, as much as we can to try to get the word out. And definitely, stay in touch with us. Matt and I are 50% of the work we do is on the phone with parents, just for free, just helping people, through the process. So.
All right. So tell everyone again the name of of what you do and how all the different ways people can get a hold of you.
Okay, sure. So we're WaveLength Tutoring and Test Prep. Um, our website is WaveLength SAT, like the test, wavelengthsat.com. Easy to contact us that way. Our Instagram is WaveLength Tutoring. And if anybody has direct TV or Dish Network, we're actually being featured on a TV show that's airing April 27th. It's called The World's Greatest. And they came from Florida to film us. for this TV show. So they're doing this like segment on us on the show. We had a crazy day of them filming us from like, you know, a 12-hour day of cameramen. We had our seniors come down for classes and our lower schoolers, and it was really great. So that show will air on the 27th on DirecTV and Dish Network, but it'll also be on their World's Greatest website. So that'll be fun. A nice way to kind of see some parent testimonials, etc. And also our website, we've got a testimonial base on our website that is hundreds of pages long. It's searchable by school and by town. So we've been here 20 years and we have so many lovely families who have, you know, moms, dads, kids who've gone out there and written such lovely things about us. So the best way to get to know us is really to read the testimonials.
Okay. And again, your locations are in Middletown and Wall, right?
Yeah,
Fair.
for our classes. And we do in-home tutoring and we do online tutoring, of course.
All fantastic. Marlee, it is a pleasure talking to you. And I'm sure we'll keep in touch because I know I'm going to have more questions for you.
Good, good. Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me, Liz. I really appreciate it.
And anybody who wants more information can refer back to the blog. Just search Marlee's name in the subject line on 943thepoint.com on our website, and it'll pull up all the information and links that you need. Have a wonderful day. Stay
You too,
healthy.
Liz. Thank you. Bye-bye.